We are back. Oakland Sports, past, present, and future. Please note the name change. I'm Ralph Tyko with the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and one of the co-hosts of the show is with us, one not yet, but Nancy Finley. How are you? You're here and accounted for.
Yes. I raised my hand. I'm here.
Well, I'm happy you're here, and Jerry Feitelberg, the newest addition to the show, is a bit tardy today, but we have a lot to talk about with him.
Let's wake him up.
The A's have decided on a ballpark location.
Mm-hmm.
And
big news.
It is on the location closest to Laney College.
Peralta campus.
The Peralta campus. And what I'd like to know from you, Nancy, the first, Jerry has a bunch of information. What was your gut reaction? It was going to be the decision was going to be between Jack London Square. It was going to be the Peralta location, or where the Oakland Coliseum and the arena is located now. They chose the Peralta location, and what was your first gut reaction?
Well, remember, they did a survey. Did you see the survey online?
I did.
Yes. They had that survey, and my feeling was that they were going by the results of the survey to first settle on a location. And the location is one of the three that have been talked about, and any movement forward of this is positive to me. I think it's great. So it's one of those things where they still have to jump through some more hoops, but it's a really positive forward movement, and it could end up in one of the other places, but it's something where they're using this as the starting point.
Okay.
And I like
two things. One is they're estimating that it will be 6 years, count them, six, before a ballpark is built, before it's completed.
I know. And I think...
Isn't that incredible?
It is. It makes me think. Okay, go back. Now, if you chose one of the other sites, how long do you think it would be? So, you're on...
Well, you wouldn't have... First of all, the 2 years of environmental studies would be out the door if they chose the Oakland Coliseum.
But wouldn't they have to revamp it? I'm wondering if the...
They built a new ballpark. What would they revamp? They tear it down? What they would do is build a ballpark in the parking lot, and then when it was complete, tear it down and build a parking lot where the ballpark was.
So that wouldn't...
Well, no, that's not true. The way it's set up, I don't know how they do it, because the ballpark, I really don't know how they do it, but the environmental studies would be gone. And here's another thing. The A's are losing their revenue that they've gotten over the past from the excess taxes.
Subsidies, right.
Subsidy, right. That's being cut off as we speak. It's being reduced year by year.
Isn't it cut off?
The reason we had it is because it wasn't a ballpark. It's not because this is a small market or any of that other stuff. It's because the ballpark was antiquated and it's turned into a dump, and to even the playing field, they've given the subsidy. Well, the subsidy is going to run out long before the 6 years is up, and which is going to force them to either one or two things. First of all, they're going to continue the build up the farm system, get a good team going.
Well, they should always do that. They should always do that.
We always do that.
Anyway,
I thought that was going to come to an end. I thought, well, they're going to announce a new ballpark. They'll have a terrific influx of money coming in, take a couple of 3 years to build the ballpark. By that time, they'll have a championship team built, this, that, and the other thing. No, that's 2 generations of turnover, 6 years.
They're giving the longest amount. They're giving a very conservative timeline, I feel.
That may or may not be true, but they've also picked the location with the most work to do. I don't think it would be a 6-year thing if they took the Oakland Coliseum location.
Good point. Because then, if they had to do an environmental impact, it would be maybe the parking lot or dirt out there that they haven't built on before. Anything that hasn't been built on would have to have that, but maybe it wouldn't be as long.
So, and here's another thing. Libby Schaaf, the mayor of Oakland, is absolutely lukewarm to all of this.
I noticed that. How did you?
So it's my guess is what's going to happen.
I wonder why.
This is just greasing the way for them to go to Las Vegas. I don't think any of this is going to come to fruition.
No Vegas. But don't make me laugh on that one. But Vegas is known to be the worst place a major league team can go. I mean,
why is that?
Oh my! From the time I was tiny, I've always heard people laugh about this because there's so much more to do. There's so much to do. You don't go there to watch sports. You go there to gamble on sports, but not watch it. So,
there is a populace that lives down there that doesn't come in. They're not. That are going to be the base fan base.
It's growing.
I can tell you the Raiders found no problem going there.
I have my own thoughts about that. I think they're being subsidized in Vegas, whether they sell or not. They have such a good deal. And I mean, why not? That Vegas, if your tickets are going to be purchased, no matter what, might as well. That's
right.
I remember. By the way, we were when I was a teenager. We went up to the Davis house during holiday parties. I remember Mark Davis was always in his room with his door closed. That's what I know about him. But I remember Al Davis always telling us that we weren't aggressive enough, and you need to do such A and B to get them to do what you want. And he was always writing us, not because he thought we were too laissez-faire and didn't file any suits or anything. But you know what? Look what he got. He always ended up getting what he wanted, extremely what he wanted. But I see this. Actually, I think there's another location that they're aiming for, and Vegas is a pit stop.
The Raiders, you mean?
Yeah, Raiders, yeah, my opinion. Just my opinion.
Well, I don't think...
my opinion.
Okay, that may or may not be true.
No, it may not be. It's something I put together in my mind, and, hey, I talk to myself, too, so...
Okay, well... Don't worry unless you start getting answers.
That's right, and I might. So okay, but no, you're right. By the way, with the current where the Coliseum is now, I have to say this: when you drive up to it from either direction, it is a gorgeous location. It's slightly elevated. You know where you're going. You see it.
It is what it is. But what's nice about it is they've got Bardis right there. Mm-hmm. It's already there. If they take the Peralta location, you're going to have to make an inordinate amount of infrastructure changes. 2 freeway ramps, I don't know if you know that I listened to Don Peralta on CBS talking about this. The cost of infrastructure in this country is just incredible. So to put 2 freeway ramps in the Peralta location, you're talking about millions of dollars. And who's going to subsidize that? The city has already said that they don't have the money.
How old are those? How old is that freeway right there? That system?
I don't have answers to that.
I'm just curious. I was just curious to know if that was part of the freeway that was redesigned after 1989, or is it something that will need to be brought up to code anyway?
I don't know. I
Okay,
do
anyway.
know there's it will entail a lot of gentrification of the neighborhood that and pleasing the college itself. There's a lot of noise that goes in. I can see why 6 years is the estimated time to do all of this.
I would leave.
I just don't. I don't think it's going to come to. I just don't think it's going to come together because of MLB cutting back on the subsidy that they're providing Oakland. They may extend that if a ballpark is in place.
It's a way of re-energizing a location too, like counties to.
Oh, absolutely. The area itself, and Oakland needs that, and it could be good news. It could be bad news. I wish Jerry were here. He'd give us his expert opinion.
I would like to study. I would like to know more about how the Giants, what steps they went through to achieve that stadium on the water.
Right. Well,
they got that land, and do you remember where they got that land? Who it belonged to?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll look into that because they put it to a vote, but it was done in a way that brought everyone into it.
Okay. Now, when the Finleys moved from Kansas City with the A's, the Coliseum was in place?
Yeah. We didn't have anything to do with that. It was built for Davis. It was already done.
Right.
Both the arena, the Coliseum looked like it does now, except you could see the hills. Bart wasn't there yet.
Right. Well, they enclosed it when Al Davis wanted to move the Raiders back from Los Angeles.
I know. He got everything he wanted. And then I remember the hotels, the Hyatt Edgewater across the street was where everything happened. And along the way on Hagenberger, Dad showed me where Amelia Earhart took off on her last flight. Or her round. Yeah, and I mean there were so many historic locations there, and we had World Airways. Do you remember Ed Daly?
I don't.
You know, he may not have been around in the 80s as much. He had this huge hangar, World Airways, and he personally went over and helped get the last of the Vietnamese when the war ended. He helped bring the last of them out in his planes because they really needed to get out, and he was concerned they were going to be left there. So I remember pictures of him doing that, but he was a really big personality, and he would sit up in our booth quite often. And I remember he had World Airways. And
all right.
I don't.
Hey,
yeah.
Nancy, while I'm thinking about it, let's thank Teddy Kubiak for being here last week.
Yes, thank you, Ted.
a terrific guest, and I spoke with Ted off the air. He led me to his father-in-law, Irv Noren. I misspoke. Irv Noren was not on all 5 Yankee championship
That's right. We need
teams.
to say that.
He was on two of them.
Yes.
And he, ironically, he was on the 52 and 53 team, and he ended up having his best year in 54 when the Yankees won more games than they ever won under Casey Stengel. I think anybody else, they won 111 games. They finished second to the Indians that year. And so
was he on?
Irv Noren did win 2 champions. Teddy won 5, Ted Kubiak. And he led me to Irv. I had Irv as a guest on the Peter Golenbach.
How did that
show
go?
Sunday night. If you look at
I'll listen to that. I want to hear.
Yeah. Irv Noren was a terrific. Irv Noren is 93 years old.
Oh my!
He's got all his marbles. They're in a sack that doesn't leak.
Oh.
And he remembers. He talked about being a coach, his coaching days with the A's. Mostly we talked about the Yankee days, but fantastic guy, very, very articulate. And,
wow.
He's the 5th person that I've had on the network who's over 90 years old, who's given us incredible insight. We have Dr. Bobby Brown, who used to be the third baseman for the Yankees back in the day, became a cardiologist, worked at that for his lifetime, and then became the president of the American League. We had Hobie Landreth, if I'm not mistaken, is over 90. Bob Wolf, the iconic announcer, broadcaster that just recently passed away. I was lucky enough to interview him 4 or 5 months ago, and that's really the highlight of what I do. It turns out for me, because we're all getting older, I'd like to make it to 90 and have all my senses and all my capabilities.
100. Yes, let's go for 100. Yes. I mean, really, I don't see why not.
Why not? Exactly.
Why not? You know, George Toma, you've heard of George Toma?
I did.
Yes. He is, last time I saw him, all muscle, and he has to be approaching 90, and he still works. He covers he's flown in for Super Bowls, the World Cup, and he got his start with us in Kansas City as our groundskeeper, and he's the best groundskeeper in the world.
Right. He's got that reputation as the number one guy. They call him in. He does consultation work. He'll go into a stadium that's been, they've had a concert the night before, and 24 hours he can turn it around.
I mean, he's and sounds great. So that just reminded me of how people are living longer. I think it's when they work too and keep your mind active. But George is great. George was the only one who really could keep Harvey, our rabbit, maintained. The rabbit that came up out of the ground.
The rabbit that would come up behind home plate, right, and give the ball to the umpires. Is that the one?
With the blinking red eyes, yes. And you would hear the Cottontail song come on, and Harvey, we have Harvey go in a circle, spin, and Harvey had one of those baskets that you used to see on bicycles, paper boys would use. That's what we had the balls in, and I remember an article and hearing some players talk about when they were the visiting team. They didn't know about Harvey yet in '61, and Harvey would come out of the ground, and it would just scare the you know what out of them. They did not expect this thing to come out of the ground so close to them. It just looked, you can imagine if something started to rise like that. It was never a dull moment.
Do you remember Charlie as someone who was, before he bought the team, I don't know how old you were when he bought the team.
I wasn't born, but I heard my granddad talk to him all the time. So I know I know what he was like then.
Okay. Was he, I know he was an idea man in business. He came up with a product that made him rich, but it was like Henry Ford, find a need and fill it. Mm-hmm. He sold disability insurance to doctors. Mm-hmm. And he sold it as group insurance through their association. What is it?
The different
medical association, whatever, their group. And it was a terrific innovation because, a doctor loses a hand, he's this, that, and the other thing, can't perform the work he's trained to do. And it really helped a lot of folks, made him his millions. But did he have other ideas? Were there other things that he came up with before baseball that
I heard, yes. Well, he started out in one of those kiosks selling for Sears.
Oh, really?
Yes. Before all of this, he wanted to go into the Army, and he spent a little bit of time there, but apparently was released because of his health. And
right.
And he had bronchitis, I think. And my granddad used to say he thought it was from spending any time in a steel mill. He thought it was just, it would do in your lungs. So that's why my granddad moved to Dallas from Birmingham just so he did not work in the steel mills. And he was against smoking. So that was something that most people didn't realize back then about smoking cigarettes. But with Charlie, he went and just started selling and did well in one of those kiosks and saw that he was really good with people. So he wanted to open his own business just selling general insurance. And
okay.
And it was.
Go ahead,
well,
please.
No, what's interesting is he joined Rotary, he joined local organizations, and when he had the team, he didn't have time for any of that. And I remember when I heard that, I heard from his wife, Aunt Shirley, that he used to be in the Rotary, he would never miss a meeting, and he was in other local organizations. And I just thought, wow, I had no idea, because I guess that's what he did to network. And that was smart, because when he had the team, he didn't have time to do that. So
was he a big sports fan before he bought the team?
He liked to watch it. I mean, he certainly talked a lot about football, and he'd call and say, "Are you going to watch the game today?" And they might bet $1. He would call Granddad and then Dad, and they liked to watch college football, and they
right.
had their special team, Notre Dame, and so they were always watching football. And baseball, he just loved to watch the games, like many of us. But
right.
I never heard about his dad taking him out and playing Little League or anything like that. Like Ted said, though, it was different then, because back then kids would just play on the street or in the neighborhood.
Right.
They would just play them on themselves. So, but I know that he wanted to be a player, but he couldn't. He knew he couldn't.
Nancy, tell the story. We haven't talked about this on the air, about when your daughter got to throw out the pitch in Oakland,
Yes.
in the Coliseum, the first pitch.
Did Jerry come on? Did Jerry just come on? I heard.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, Jerry, nice to see you. How are you? You had some technical problems. Jerry, I'd like you to meet Nancy Finley.
Yes. The daughter of baseball.
Yes.
daughter and niece of Charlie, daughter of the Oakland. I describe you as basically a son of the Oakland A's. You are an absolutely. We're talking to the new co-host Jerry Feitelberg, and I consider it a terrific thing. If I could pronounce your name right each week, it makes my whole week go better, Jerry.
Jerry, how do you spell your name? How do you spell your name?
Oh, spell it. F like in Frank, E-I, T like in Tom, E-L, B like in boy, E-R-G, Feitelberg.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we got it. I think I did all right.
And Jerry,
you did a great job.
Yeah. I'm good for something. Contrary to a lot of people's thinking.
So modest.
Let me ask you this, Jerry. We've been talking a little bit about the stadium situation. It was announced that the new stadium locale has been decided, the Peralta location. And can you tell me, I asked Nancy the same thing, what was your first hit on it all when it was announced, and how do you feel it's going to go? They say 6 years. Is this something that can really come to fruition?
Well, there's a lot of work that has to be done. They have to get the agreements with the Peralta board to move the administration building. They've got to get the community on board, and the people in the neighborhood may not be happy about having a stadium with 35,000 people around them. I like the thought that it's in a more downtown area and would be more baseball friendly. One of the things that Dave Cavill said yesterday was he wanted to make the experience something like what happens in Wrigley or what happens in Boston, where the stadiums are surrounded by bars and restaurants, and the same thing at Yankee Stadium. I'm sure, Ralph, that you've been to Yankee Stadium, and when you get off the train at 161st Street and come down the stairs, there's bars and restaurants, and it just smells and feels baseball. You don't get that experience now.
I get that experience in San Francisco now. They've rebuilt that entire area around the ballpark. It's gentrification of the neighborhood. Why is that so hard to sell to a city when a ballpark brings in so much revenue and is so good for the surrounding businesses?
We should explain
why
that.
Can't
that term.
I don't understand that.
I don't know either. All I know is that area where at 3rd and King was pretty dismal before the Giants came in, and they made it with the architecture. They made it beautiful, fit into the neighborhood, and it's such a tremendous draw. It's a wonderful stadium.
Jerry, that's what I was saying. Let's look at what the Giants did and exactly what. Let's maybe follow their pattern and see.
I was telling Nancy the thing that scares me about this locale is that to make it work, they're going to have to put in new freeway ramps, and that can cost millions of dollars in today's day and age.
Yes, it can, but it's doable.
But are they due to be upgraded?
They may be. it would be great. Whatever they do to make traffic in and out of the area would be good. And they have to have some parking. But if it's, I mean, the Giants have limited parking too. And if you've been to Fenway and Wrigley, there's no parking. But there's good transportation. The key is the transportation. San Francisco has Muni drops you right at the front door. And they're going to have to figure something out in Oakland to make it work. I'm not sure if people will enjoy that 9-minute walk from Lake Merritt Station over to the ballpark.
What used to
well, that's 9 minutes. That's a terrific. That's very close.
It's not around the corner though. It's still a good. It's a good walk, and the games don't end in the afternoon anymore. They're at night, and the game ends at 10:30, and it can be very lonesome out there walking to the station late at night.
Where did the Giants purchase that land from? I mean, where did they get that? What was there before?
That was old warehouse land that they had. That was sort of an industrial area in that part of town. And
okay.
Of course now, with the housing that they put up and the Mission Bay project, that place is hopping. It's just been a wonderful regentrification of the area.
So that was warehouse.
Yeah.
Was it vacant?
I don't know if it was vacant. I hardly ever went over there.
I wonder if they had eminent domain with that.
I don't know if they did. I don't know. I do like but as I said, I do like the concept of they're talking about building housing. They're talking about bringing in small businesses. They're talking about bringing in a regular business, a commercial, and all
Jerry,
those
can
things.
Can the team itself survive 6 years losing their subsidy from the luxury tax that is slowly being cut back? And I'm wondering whether or not, if they put the shovel in the ground, if baseball will extend that subsidy along the way.
Well, I think they can.
6 years sounds like a long time.
We never had that subsidy. I think we didn't have the internet either, bringing in resources. So they have other avenues for money, believe me.
Well, I think the A's are going to lose the $35 million. They're losing 25% this year, and I think it's phased out by 2021.
The small market subsidy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Billy Beane and Dave Cavill and David Forst know that they have to put a better product on the field. They cannot go with the same 15,000 people every day.
Right.
Very disheartening to be out at the ballpark and see a stadium filled with just 10 or 12,000 people.
Yeah.
Although the A's fans are like the fans that were at Candlestick for all those years. You have a hardcore group of about 15,000 people that will come out whether the A's win or lose. They just love the club. But in order to get the casual fan, you got to put a winning product on the field. And I think that they realize that, and that's why they're going with the younger players. Now, I don't know if the players...
Well, they've done that for 4 or 5 times in a row now.
Yeah.
I mean, they've built, rebuilt.
We had young players too. I mean, we had a mismatch.
And now you're going to have to turn that over again twice until the stadium comes in. I'm not enthused about this.
Right.
And as I was telling Nancy, Libby Schaaf, the mayor of Oakland, is very, very lukewarm.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Were you surprised at that?
Well, she was looking to have the ballpark built at Howard Terminal. That was her preference. But I think if it's going to bring in $3 billion in jobs and business, why wouldn't she be enthusiastic about it?
I know.
The only other thing is what are they going to do with the Coliseum complex? They got to figure out what to do with it, and they could rebuild that too. They could build housing and shops and retail there too. So There's an opportunity there for the city, but dealing with politicians is so difficult, especially when you have both the county and the city involved in the Coliseum complex.
I'm surprised.
So
all this time you saw the politicians saying, you know, Oakland's not leaving. We're going to make sure they don't leave. We don't want them to leave. And, I mean, they should be celebrating.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I think she's accepting it. I think they're not going to lose all three teams.
Right.
So they'll find a way to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But at what price glory, I'll tell you.
Well, yeah, there's still talk. There's still a lot of room for talk. Now, I had a question. Isn't it that, aren't there about 8 teams that receive the subsidy now?
You got me on that, Nancy. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they just the people, Major League Baseball, the owners that are paying it, want to eliminate it.
Oh, of course
especially,
they do.
Especially if they were supposed to be using the money to get players, and I think the A's were just pocketing the money. They weren't getting the players.
I heard that. And
let's make it clear, Nancy, it isn't a small market subsidy.
Oh, I know. That's what it's called.
It is, but with the A's, it's because of their dilapidated ballpark.
Now, the Cubs receive it.
Yeah. And just anybody out there, Oakland is not a small market.
It isn't, I know.
By any stretch.
I was surprised to hear that.
It's dubbed that way. You've got support in not only Alameda County,
the Gold Country,
you've got Contra Costa County.
Monterey.
No, it's by no means a small market.
I know. And now, also, I think the Mets receive it. It may be. I don't know.
Well, the Mets get it. I guess Fred Wilpon needs it because he lost so much money with Bernie Madoff.
Oh, I know, but he had it paid back. That was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
What? Yeah. Preferential.
In baseball's wisdom, they were going to put Fred Wilpon on I don't know if they ever did it, on the finance committee of Major League Baseball.
No way. No way. No. That's a good joke, Ralph. That's a good joke.
That was not a joke.
What?
He is either on it or was turned down for it, but he was. They were talking about putting him on. This was a year or so ago.
Okay, that's scary. Okay. Anyway, those are the teams I heard were on it. I guess what it is it's like, well, Kansas City I heard was on it.
Well, that could be. Yeah,
and that very well could be.
That's not.
And the Royals' attendance was, they went 30 years between championships, and their attendance was off. And, when you get into a small market like Kansas City, I don't know if Minneapolis is a small market.
Kansas City is not a small market, trust me.
But remember a couple of years ago when Selig was commissioner, they were talking about constricting or eliminating a couple of the teams, and because of the small markets or the poor attendance in the teams, and the A's are on that list, and that would have been a shame to destroy a franchise that's been around for over 110 years or more.
Absolutely.
Oh,
hey, let's take a little time out and talk about the current A's, and in the last week or 10 days, they have been hitting up a storm. And they turned some heads, and I think now, I think they're regretting getting rid of Gray.
Without question. Their rotation is in a shambles. I don't
think they realized. I don't think they had any idea how close they were offensively to really becoming a force. Pender, Simeon is hitting, Healy. It's really become. Yeah, they all are. What I'm enthused about is Chapman at third base.
Chapman is terrific. All the guys, they got 6 or 7 guys that can knock the ball out of the park. they're getting a real great performance from a couple of veterans now. That Jed Lowry and Matt Joyce are performing, and so Joyce has got over 20 homers. And you've got guys up and down that lineup that can knock the ball out of the park at any time. They're having games where they're hitting 4 or 5 home runs a game, and they took it to Houston. They didn't just beat Houston; they trounced Houston. Mm-hmm. And
right, 4 games in a row. That was very nice.
Wrote them, yeah.
Wow, if we could just keep it this way until the season starts, just freeze it,
That's for sure. But I wrote in my preview of the Red Sox series that the Red Sox better watch out because they cannot take the A's lightly. They were looking forward to sweeping the A's earlier in the season when it was announced they were going to Boston in September, and the A's were floundering in July. I'm sure the Red Sox thought that they could pick up 3 easy wins, and as you saw last night, it didn't happen that way. And Matt Olson came through with a big two-run bomb, and he's got 18. And what has he played in? He hasn't even played in 60 games. He's got 18 homers.
Right.
Chapman's got 12 or 13. Pinder's got 13. Healy's got 24. Chris Davis has got 39. Joyce has got 23. These guys can hit the ball out of the park. And Jed Lowry's is a doubles machine. He's first or second in the league. He's got 45 doubles.
Beautiful.
And here's a little more good news for you, Jerry and Nancy. Mm-hmm. They're improving defensively. Simeon at short has really turned it around, stepped it up with the glove, and that makes a big difference.
He did a lot of work. He did a lot of work with Ron Washington in 2015. Mm-hmm. You remember he was making a lot of errors. His first year with the club, he was making a lot of errors, and Ron came over. Gallego was still the third base coach at the time, and Ron would work with Simeon way before the game, and he would work on him with fielding, and he'd have a bunch of exercises for him where to position his feet, his arm angle when he threw to first base, and he made tremendous strides with Simeon. And you have to remember that at the time, Marcus had only played shortstop. It was his first year playing shortstop. He had never played the position before. He was the second baseman with the White Sox. And so
I expected them to play Simeon at second and Lowry at short. Lowry is pretty limited at short.
Right, no range. But
he had been a regular, range-wise. And, they made a move, and Simeon certainly has more range. And Lowry adjusted well to second. Pender is the big surprise. An infielder who has become a Zobrist-type player. He plays all over the field. And
he's played 5 positions this year. All the outfield positions and second base and shortstop. And he probably could play third base and first base if he was asked.
Well, they just need to keep this exactly the way it is, the lineup, and just be ready to continue.
Well, the lineup is fine, but they've got to do something about that pitching staff. Is there anybody you see coming up who's in the minors who might be ready to make a move pitching-wise?
No, not that I know of. They brought up most of the guys. They've got Mingdon up here. They've got Gossett that they brought up. Of course, they'll have Andrew Triggs back next year. Chris Bassett hopefully will be ready. I don't know what they're going to do with Jesse Hahn. He's been up and down. So they do have some pitchers. Paul Blackburn pitched very, very well before he got hurt. And I think he'll be a nice addition to the rotation. The problems that they
have pitching well lately is Cotton.
He pitched okay last night. He went in 5 innings and gave up 3 runs. He's got to find a way to stop giving up the home run ball. He had something like 14 homers in 33 innings, which isn't very, very good. But if he can do a little bit better with his location, I think he'll be okay. he's 8-10 for the season, and he improved. He's got 3 wins, I think, in the last 4 outings, so that's not too bad.
Okay. Well, let's hope they could beat the Red Sox. It's fun to be spoilers, especially against teams that you have a history of playing and competing against, and when they weren't the nail, to the hammer.
Question. It would be interesting to have someone like one of our pitchers, Brian Kingman, from the late 70s, or Vita Blue, just say, give some advice, like, to them, what they could do, not like telling them, if you want to be me, you have to do this. Just give advice. Look at their, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's always fun.
I know what you mean, Nancy. Passing on the tradition. All right. Hey, listen. This has been terrific. Thank you. I know you were having technical problems, Jerry.
Happens to all of us.
I'm glad we got that solved. I'm glad you got to meet Nancy officially, and we'll continue this. I'm thrilled to talk to you each week, both of you.
My long lost brother.
An A's brother, and you have to say it's a family.
Yes. Yes.
The A's are, so that's kind of nice.
I will do some research on the locations and get a report next week. All right.
Okay. And I'll do some napping over this next week.
Okay.
Just to keep up. All right. Yes. Jerry, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn on I'm taping the Red Sox game and the A's game. I got to do a report today, so I'm doing that right now.
Is it on?
I don't know
on now?
Yeah, it's the game is on. It started at 10:30.
Okay, I'll turn that on. Great. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Nancy, nice meeting you, Nancy. We hope to see you in person over at the ballpark.
Yes. Thank you.
I'll be there I got 3 more home games to work, 25th, 26th, 27th.
Okay.
Before the end of the season, and looking forward to seeing you over there.
Thank you.
Jerry, tell the audience what you do for the
I write for a sports radio service, and I do 4 pieces a week, Monday through Thursday. And I cover the A's home and away, those games.
Okay, now tell the audience how they can avail themselves of that.
We have a website. We're on the World Wide Web at sportsradioservice.com.
Okay.
And we're on Facebook. And we also do. I'm also going to do a podcast later today for Sports Radio Service, and we'll be talking about last night's game and the stadium again later today.
I'm writing this down. Great. Okay.
Yeah, sportsradioservice.com.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay, great.
I will post this show in a couple of days, ladies and gentlemen, and send you both links, lady and gentleman.
And I will forward on.
And, onward and upward. We will be back next week, same time, same bad channel. And, again, hang in there, everybody. That's all it's about, persistence. See you next week, everybody.
Bye.